Hey guys,
Oh,
and
there
welcome
you
to
are.
another episode of Time with Elyse. We're going to be talking about the hidden world of time capsules, and as always, we have another amazing guest who's joined us today. He has graciously submitted his photos to the International Time Capsule Society to be featured in a documentary about time capsules. So we're very excited to talk to him. His name is Menno Dimitri. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But all of our time capsulers, they come across, the world. We've had people from Bolivia, we've had people from Alabama, such a diverse crowd out here, but we really appreciate everyone who's coming on to talk about their experience. And we're going to be exploring his motivations, the contents within his time capsule, and just generally picking apart, his ideas and what he thinks. So I'm going to bring him on in 1 second. But again, another great guest, and we're going to hop right into it as always. So I'm going to welcome Dimitri, and here we go. Hello, how
Hello.
are you today?
I'm very fine. Thank you for
Very
having me on
fine.
your podcast.
Yes, I'm grateful to have you on board. And I wanted to kind of hop into your time capsule. So, for those of the audience members who have watched me before, they know I usually put another screen on to show their time capsules. But today, that's not working. So, we want to hop into it and just do our best explaining it. But I really wanted to learn a little bit more about you. And obviously, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to the audience since this is their first time hearing about you, getting to know you.
Yes, I'm Menno Dimitri Ouderkerk. I'm from the Netherlands. I live in the eastern part of the Netherlands, and that's I think about 200 kilometers from Amsterdam. I think it's 150 miles.
Wow.
I, yes, near Amsterdam. For us, that's a long distance. For you, I don't think so.
Bit of a hike.
So yes, a year or five ago, we had made a time capsule for the place where I live. That's called Almelo. It's a small town in the and this time capsule I can show you because I thought maybe you
Yes,
wouldn't have any
please.
images. So
Wow. Here, I'll put you on the main screen. You could show. Oh, wow. That's amazing.
this is the time capsule, and this is when I put there. You can see where it's in the ground, in the
Yeah.
in the garden of a local museum, history museum, and you can only see the top there above the ground. And someone is making new bushes because the old ones had died, so now it's all overgrown again. But that's our time capsule.
Wow. So, for those of you who are just listening, he's showing us a picture of the time capsule and the burial site of it. And that's located where exactly?
In the center of our town, there's a small historical museum. In this museum, there's all these kinds of old artifacts of Almelo from 100 years ago. There was a large factory sites here from textile industries in those days. They're all gone now, but this house where it's located, this historical museum, is an old school, an
Hmm.
old small school, and in the backyard there is now in the ground this time capsule.
So, what
And
motivated you to plant it there?
uh, yeah, this is a project that was funded by the city,
Okay.
and we had a funding for the city because it's about how young people think about the future, and that
Okay.
was one of the items this time capsule. Inside the time capsule is a hard disk, and on this hard disk are all kind of talk shows these youngsters made when they were 14, 15 years. That's I think high school age in America,
Yeah, that's high
and
school. Yes.
yeah, high school, yes,
Yeah.
and these youngsters we challenged them to think about what our place Almelo in 15 years should look like and what it's about. They played a role in these talk shows, where they explained about the future, what they expected for the future, what kind of things would change, what kind of things would stay. We made a list out of this, and all these kind of films we put on a hard disk, and we buried the hard disk in the ground, and it's hopefully we can dig it up in 2030. So then we
Yeah,
can see if they are right or wrong about some things.
I
There
love
was quite a
that.
happening in Almelo at the time 5 years ago. They had a lot of newspapers coming to look at it. We had local television and television for the region was at it. So it was very nice.
Wow. So you really gathered a bunch of perspectives from what I'm understanding from teenage
Yes,
age people in your town in the
yes,
Netherlands, and they just talked about their hopes for the future or what they thought the future would look like. Is that correct?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, awesome. So the whole time capsule, the contents within it are these videos.
Hmm.
Okay.
Exactly. And there are some videos. I've forgotten to send you. I've just found one. It's on the internet still. This is supposed to be there.
Okay. It's okay.
But
What is the video of?
this is a video of a local television program who had made some interest for it, and that's very nice to see how people in that 5 years ago thought about the future, because at that time we thought, for instance, that hard disk and was still there in 10 years, but now it's all in the cloud. So that's
Right.
already something that is gone a bit.
Yeah.
Uh, there was no youngsters from now are a lot of with social media going on, and for instance, TikTok. I don't know if you know
Yes.
that.
Oh my gosh. But you know
And
that.
that's
You're
a,
ahead of
that's
the
a,
game.
and that's for 5 years that there was this other program of item, I think, that they used, and there was no TikTok at that time. So
No.
so you see, what you are seeing is that everything is going faster,
Hmm.
and a year of 5 ago that wasn't so, and I have a list of things they said, and I can
Yes, please share.
share. That's very interesting.
I
All
think
these
that he's right. Technology is quickly evolving so
yes,
quickly. I feel like every other month there's a new iPhone out, so it's hard for us to keep up. So it's really great that you chose to do something like this so that you guys can look back on it when you open it and see what you were right about. And you guys, from my understanding, you want to open it 2030. Is that correct?
2030. Yes, that's exactly.
Awesome.
And uh, at that time, 5 years ago, my son was 15, almost
Wow.
20, and they had the idea that he is going to open it in 2030. Of course,
Cool.
I will be there still. I hope so.
I think you'll be
but
there. You'll be there. But
so,
it's
but
that's great.
so he is going to open it at this time. I have some things they said, because oh yeah, that's one thing they said in 2015. Shops, for instance, will still be there, but there also will be there a lot of shops on the
Yeah.
internet shops, and that's something very interesting, because also in the Netherlands we have these internet shops, and you can see in the inner cities that they are empty, more and more empty places where no
Yeah.
shops are anymore. So and of course now of the pandemic, a lot of more people are going to have made the choice to make internet shopping a kind of way of living,
Yeah.
almost,
Yeah.
and that's almost the same what you were saying a few moments ago, that things are going faster and faster. It's not going like this, but it's going like this.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, and
Straight
and and
straight incline, of course.
yeah, Other
Do you
things
guys
we
have
saw.
do people in the Netherlands use Amazon?
Yes, we have for 1 year now. We have Amazon.
Wow, because there's a lot of
Regrettable.
Amazon fashion now. So when you say
Yeah.
shopping has really revolutionized, people are now selling clothes on Amazon. So it's just taking a whole different realm, which so I think it's really interesting that 5 years ago in the time capsule, he said that there would be a lot more online shopping because it almost feels like online shopping is the number one way to shop now.
hmm Especially for youngsters,
Yes.
for young people. I myself, I'm a teacher also at a high school, and I see that they are a lot of they have these mobile phones, and they order, and when they
Yeah.
don't like it, they send it back, and
In the mail.
this is incredible how that is going.
Yeah. So when you
Other things,
guys just are you trying to find the quotes from them?
quotes.
Or the videos? You mentioned that you had a list of things that they said in the.
Yes, yes, I have some things, other things.
Oh,
They,
perfect.
5 years ago, there was a thing about alcohol.
Okay.
There was this age, there was this law about alcohol using for youngsters from 5 years ago. They could use alcohol at 16 years in the Netherlands, and now it's 18 years.
Wow.
So 2 years. Then at that time there was a big issue on the youngsters, and now they all come into it, so they don't talk about it anymore. uh, they thought there was more Eminem. You know him, the
The
rapper?
rapper?
Yes,
Yeah, he
was very
actually grew
famous.
up in Michigan in
Yes.
America, which is right next to where my dad grew up, like in the same state and same area.
Okay, that's nice.
So I know the rapper, yes. What did they think about
Okay,
Eminem?
they said they thought he will still be famous, but
Oh,
I don't.
well.
I don't think so.
So they did a lot of like pop culture
Pop
questions, right? They
culture
said
and of course Dutch culture.
Dutch
So
culture, yeah.
like we have this fest, they call it, and the kind of Christmas fest. I don't know. We have the Santa Claus in the
Yeah.
Netherlands, and we have these black people who are helping Santa Claus. They call, I think they call it Black Pete in. I
Like
don't know if you
elves?
know. Yes, but there's a racial discussion about this uh, because the helpers of the Santa Claus are all people from yes 100 years ago who were from slavery, and this
Wow.
was a common kind of uh, yeah, custom in the Netherlands. And now this custom is under pressure because of the racial discussions in the world,
Wow.
and more and more people are saying we don't want him anymore to be a colored man. So
Hmm.
that's interesting. And at 5 years ago, the discussion was very intense and very high, and a lot of children thought, no, they are gonna take away our childhood because
Like
this
our
is going
Christmas?
because of Christmas, yes, and
Wow.
uh, uh, and now that's a lot more or less than those days. They are more accepting the fact that this helper of this Santa Claus can also be a common figure of or a white figure or a normal figure.
Hmm.
Not anymore. This racial discussion is almost gone in this, and that's interesting.
So are they having more conversations about race 5 years ago than now, or is it the opposite?
More. There's more discussion about. But 5 years ago it was from we don't want it. We don't want to change, and now it's okay. We see they are right. It isn't good to present colored
Oh,
people like that, and now they are more. They have this attitude from okay, we understand this isn't good. This isn't a good tradition. We have to change this tradition.
wow. Okay, so they're recognizing maybe like the
Yes.
racist undertones by having Santa's helpers all be like slaves and darker
Yes.
colored, right? So, wow. So you guys have really captured something historical with this time capsule, the changing of perspective, right?
Yeah, that's very interesting. I think that's also a thing when you read about time capsules. That's very interesting that the historical perspective of many things are changing over the
Yeah.
years. I have at the time I bought this book. I don't know if you know it.
What is it?
It's called.
Time capsules. William E. What's the last name? Oh, I haven't read that one. I'm gonna put that on my list.
It's coming from America, so
Is it good? Like, what is it about?
it's very good. Yes, very interesting. It's all about this wrestling house capsule, I think.
Wow.
Yes, and it's also about this what they did and why and crypts and it's going on for thousands of years, of course. These capsules. So
Yeah.
the Egyptians, these pyramids are, of course, also a kind of time capsules.
Yes. It's funny.
This is very
It's
interesting.
funny that you
It's
say
also
that. We actually had our last guest. He made a time capsule that mimicked architecturally the Egyptian pyramids. So it looked
okay.
like a big pyramid, but it held his time capsule. So it was like 2 feet above ground and then below it as well. But it's interesting that that's always kind of been embedded within history, and that you have what you definitely think that time capsules are meaningful in capturing history, right?
Yes,
And this
and this
book is showing
project,
that.
yeah, this project that we made, we got the funding for this social awareness
Mm,
of these youngsters, and that's the way we made this. They got workshops and they about these changing perspectives and all these kinds of things,
mhm.
and I hope in 10 years when we dig it up that we get these youngsters again to see that then they will be 30 and about looking for, oh, that's the way I thought when I was 15, 14, 15 about these issues.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quickly changing. Do you think
Yes.
that when they open these time capsules in 2030 and they're able to look at them and watch and see what they said, do you think that they will want to do another one for the next 5 or 10 years?
That's something we are thinking about. I'm with a small art foundation, and that's where we made this capsule from.
Wow.
So definitely think we are going to make another one at that time. Maybe the
Yeah.
same one, and we put another hard disk in it. So
Yeah, no, I think making a time capsule even like once every year, just a video of yourself is a great way to film a life series in a sense. You can document the
yes,
way in which your values and your opinions have changed, even the way that you look, right? I mean, some people, chop their hair, like we're doing all these things as we're in our 20s and especially the teenage years. It's very pivotal in, your belief system. So I think that's a great way to track it. And I know that you mentioned before, time capsules are so fascinating for so many people, and a lot of media love when, communities do them, especially. So, can you describe the media interest that you had when you made your time capsule in your hometown in the Netherlands?
yeah, yes, of course. In advance, when we said that we had this project, it was coming up. They also at that time we had some very much interest for it, and there was some small pieces in the newspapers. There was
Yeah.
also a regional television at that time, and then when we are busy with making these workshops, there was a lot of interest on the schools and also on the newspapers, and there was even some at the time a little political debate in the
Wow.
council about it, and that was very interesting because these youngsters said this was about Wi-Fi in the city, and they said, I don't know if you have Wi-Fi in the streets in America, but in Almelo we have everywhere is Wi-Fi at this time, and free Wi-Fi, and
Oh.
and at that time there was an issue if you should make that for for the tourists, for example. And then this was with the Times capsule. They said, okay, these young people think uh, there will be free Wi-Fi everywhere for everyone in the future.
Wow. Okay. And so that's in the time capsule as well.
Yes,
So
and,
I
and
was
that's
go on.
and that's of course very interesting that that you see that politicians and others are thinking about what are these youngsters doing, because
Mm,
they are for many adults it's a closed world.
yeah.
These
Yeah.
these they have their own bubble, more and more of course from the social media. So this how can you pinch that bubble and see what's inside and what they are doing and what they are thinking and these kind of things.
Yeah. Wow. So people were very responsive to the time capsule where you were.
Yes,
And
they
it
still are.
sparked a lot of conversation. It sounds like it initiated a lot of important conversations.
Yes, yes, that's true. And now, of course, uh, the time capsule is still there, and after some time, you see some people are asking about it. How is it going? I don't. I say that's in the ground.
Yes.
But it's still like from some people are saying, oh, when you're the same you are saying from when you are going to do another project with this, and this
Yeah. Wow. It's amazing that you did it in an artistic way because I could see it's silver, you know, it has this beautiful top it sounds like the it looks like the at symbol, right?
yes, the A symbol is from. I will show it again for the
Yeah. Yeah,
viewers.
it's really cool.
The symbol is of course from from the internet, because but it is also a symbol from our city promotion.
Oh, really?
Yes, because I live in this town. It's called Almelo with an
Yeah.
A.
Oh, okay, okay. So why did you choose the at symbol? Just because it was like futuristic and also
Yeah,
resembled
our
your town in
city
a way?
because and of course they paid a little bit for the they funded.
Well, I really love it, and I'm glad that you have evidence of you burying it, and you seem very organized. But I have to say, physical time capsules, 80 to 90% of them are actually lost when people bury them because they either forget where they put it or the rain kind of shifts it right when it's below the ground. Mother Nature is strong. But how are you guys ensuring that yours is not forgotten and that your descendants will be able to find the time capsule, even though it's like only 9 years away? How are you making sure that it's found?
It's a part of our because of it's in the historical museum.
Okay.
It's a item. It's an item from the museum now.
Wow.
It's a museum item. They see it as a museum item, so it is registered as an official item from in history.
Okay.
And they are also preserving it on this level. This photo I've shown you, this from when they made new bushes, this from
Yeah.
last year.
Oh.
So they are still wiping it clean, and
Okay.
so
Yeah, and for
it's
my
it is an official site, like a kind of temporary monument.
yeah, okay. So for everyone who's just listening to us, the time capsule silver, it has a silver at symbol on top, and when it's buried in the ground, everything is covered except for that at symbol. So it kind of sticks out still. And then of course it
Yes,
has a plaque describing what it is, and
and
it's
all the
labeled.
people who are were attendees at the we had the ceremony when
Yeah.
we dug it in with a lot of people, with the official people, with one of the councillors
Wow.
and the mayor came and all this kind, and they all got a certificate that they attended the.
Oh, cool.
We even made this symbol from this society, I think, when So yes,
Oh yeah, you're good. Wait, a little down. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so everyone will remember that they attended it. They'll remember, where it is, since it is part of the museum and it's a historical art piece. It's protected there, and everyone has a good sense of where it'll be and where to find it at 2030, right?
yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's
So they
awesome.
have
And I want,
and I said when they are coming back, these people who got this certificate, this is also an invitation to come back in
oh, okay.
on the 3rd of July, 2030.
Wow.
Come back.
Wow, so we had our first year anniversary just a few days ago of it being in the ground.
Yes,
Wow, congrats. That's
yes,
awesome. It's so exciting that you guys are going to be able to incentivize people to get back together by using this certificate as an invitation as well. It's very
for the
intelligent. I
future.
love that.
Yes.
Um, it also looks like a very heavy duty time capsule. What did you use to create that silver exterior?
It's cast iron, and then it's I think how do you call it? They made a coating on it, a silver coating. So it was done in a factory.
Oh,
I I had I knew somebody who was in the metal industry, and said asked, can you make something like this? So I designed it, and
wow.
then he made this capsule from and coated it silver. So it's very resistant for to stay in the ground.
Yeah. So it looks like it's been welded.
Yes.
It was welded shut?
No, there's not welded shut with how do you use with screws.
Oh, okay.
They, yeah, and then you make them, and then you make some. You stick it on these two halves on each other, and
Okay.
then you have. And there was we did some rice in it
Okay, good. So
for the
is that just
mice.
to protect you put the
The hard
videos
drive.
on a hard drive, right?
Yes,
Okay. And
and
the
also
rice
of
is to
course
protect it from water?
yes.
Oh,
And it's all. It's of course the question if in 2030 we still use these USB. So
yeah.
I at the time in 2015 I also have a computer. I have how do you call it at home, and this is a computer, and I can use in 2030 to connect the hard drive again.
Just to make
So
sure it works?
yes.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I hope that it does work, but is there anything else that you've done just to ensure that, you don't run into issues when you open it up?
No, not very much. We saved the films on the other hard drive, and that's
Oh,
a hard drive that's at the other location in the museum. So
wow.
uh, the films are still will be there
Mm-hmm.
somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So the time capsule at this moment is probably being more symbolic,
Mm.
but the films are will still be there. It isn't that it isn't so that we threw the films away or something. We just made two hard drives, and one hard drive
Yeah.
stayed in inside the museum in the archive, and one in the garden.
Oh, wow. And do you have these films on YouTube or Vimeo or any other
No,
online platform? No?
no,
Okay.
no. That was
Very exclusive.
that's the interesting thing about it. They are only there in the museum
Yeah.
on these hard drives. We erased them. We had them on YouTube at the moment for the youngsters to see for 1 month, and then we erased them all.
Okay. Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be.
A time capsule, right? If you could view it all the time, yeah. I think the distinct element of making a time capsule is also choosing that opening date and kind of sealing it and bottling history. So that leads me to my next question of do you think that time capsules are a useful way of preserving history?
Yes, of course. That's something you are seeing with the pyramids and other things. Uh, uh, they show us a kind of thinking from a kind of a specific era. When you see some time capsules, they put things in it from 100 years ago. You think, why did you ever put those things in the time capsule? They are not relevant. Are they relevant? But at that time, they were relevant to for normal life. Uh,
Yeah.
and that's how you see. The most interesting thing is, of course, that you see that the perspective is changing. What is in normal life? What do we use in the morning when we get up,
Right.
and go to work, or all these routines we are having in our lives are constantly changing, and that's something very interesting to see. That's only you can only see it when you take a moment back to the past, and that's something a time capsule can capture.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. I think some people are often confused by what the point is, but it seems like you get it 100%. And I have to ask, did your students want to include any materials in the time capsule? Because you spoke about, objects that people have put in time capsules. Back in the day, they didn't do video and put it on hard drive. They put everyday objects. So did they want to put any objects in the time capsule and there just wasn't enough space? Why did you choose just video? Talk me through that decision.
Because they thought about it to put these objects in it, but also they think this is the digital era, and
Mm,
now you have to make a digital time capsule. So these objects you are now putting in, you can also photograph them
right.
or digitalize them or something, or make it read a model out of it, and then put it on a kind of extension, and then on a stick or a USB device or something, and then you also have the future.
Yeah.
That's it. That I think that's something that's what we thought about that for this area is interesting. When you were 100 years back, you should have put objects in it, but now I think you can all these kinds are things are digitalized, and it's not interesting to put
No, I love that.
real objects in it.
I mean, you are capturing the history of where we are at right now with technology. So I think it's a really good point and it gives the audience member, whoever opens it, a lot of context. Obviously, you guys know where it is and you're opening it. But for people who kind of make time capsules for 300 years and they just, let it sit there and see who will open it, I think recording yourself and leaving in a digital sense really shows where we are at right now, especially in 2021 and the way that COVID impacted our use of internet. I don't know how it was in the Netherlands. I can just speak for America right now, but I'm sure that you guys started using more and more internet services over COVID, right?
Mhm. Internet in the Netherlands is very the network is very dense. So
Mm,
we have the highest Wi-Fi standards, I think, in Europe, and a lot of people were already using these items and phones and tablets, all, television. But
wow.
now it's also the next generation, the generation above 60. I think the older generation is also using now, because of COVID, all these digital hardware, and they are also buying a lot of more stuff on Amazon, for instance.
Yeah.
I,
Wow.
I know some people who are never. We always say we don't buy anything on the internet because
Yeah.
that can be tricky. But now they because of COVID they couldn't go anywhere. They are
Mm.
also now buying, and they see how comfortable that is because they bring it at your door, and they are also doing it, and that's a kind of higher or faster.
Yeah.
How do you call it? Into the future with digital stuff.
It's quickly unfolding in front of our eyes. I think it's
Yes,
so
and
interesting.
it's also interesting that you have 5 years ago, yeah, of course, these digital films, but maybe in 10 years you have holographic films, and these flat films aren't interesting anymore. So the so you see this the development is very fast going.
Yeah, absolutely. I always think about in the future if we're gonna have holographs and how soon that will be. It just seems like it's moving so much quicker than I thought. I mean,
Yes,
I still remember the first iPhone coming out, so it's unbelievable that now I'm on my iPhone 11, and
yes.
it just really has shifted so much that it makes me think about your opening date is 2030. What do you think the world's going to look like at 2030?
I think these digital things and what you were saying about because watching television, I think maybe you already would have 3D television at your home, so you can watch like a theatrical performance in your living room.
Right there.
Yes. Okay.
I don't
but
like
but
having a TV in my room. I feel like it's bad for my brain, but I have it and I understand what you mean. So you're saying that you think we'll experience things virtually?
yeah, more and more because augmented reality and
Yeah.
virtual reality are very fast going now, and especially augmented reality is a really a thing for the future. When you can
Yeah.
put things above layers above the real reality, and maybe we have you had a few years ago you had these Google glasses, but they weren't a great success. But maybe they are. I know they are working on things. They are not more advanced than that. So maybe you have some things you can put on your eyes, and you can see a whole new
Oh my
universe
gosh.
of things.
That reminds me of Black Mirror. Have you ever seen that show?
Yes, yeah, I know them. I know them. Yes.
Oh, it's one of my favorites, but it's so scary because I genuinely think that a lot of this can happen. I mean, we have all
Yes.
the technology, and I think that where are they getting the inspiration from? I think that it's very interesting the way in which things are happening in the world. And I always wonder, just on a side note, do you think that, as you're talking about augmented reality and all the digital events that we can attend. I know over COVID, people had digital yoga classes, digital concerts. So we've seen that this works. But do you think, just out of curiosity, do you think it takes away from the human element and the way that we socialize and collaborate as individuals?
Not all of it, but
Hmm.
a small part. I think so because a lot of people are living on their phones. They are already in that bubble, and they only at some moments they are getting out of this bubble when they see other people, but they are interacting with them with these devices. So
Mm.
I certainly think they are how do you call it a kind of uh, yeah, how do you call it? It's more like a state of mind where you are in when
Mm.
you are using these
Yeah.
things. So you're all thinking from, oh, how can I connect with some? Oh, I have this device, and when this device is gone, you can do anything.
Wow. Yeah, I totally agree. And it always makes me think about even the future of time capsules. Where do you think that's going to head with everything changing? I'm sure time capsules are next. We have people planting things in the earth, but I know that there's companies that do digital time capsules now, and you're able to preserve your memories for up to 300 years. So it's really incredible what the technology is allowing us to do. But what do you think the future of time capsules, technology wise, what do you think it looks like?
I think it would be very interesting when you make a scan of a person completely digitalized. It's a bit like this Black Mirror. Then you have a person completely in thoughts and in character and in all this nerve system and on on a hard disk, and then you can put it somewhere. And when you get it out 1,000 years, you can see, oh, this was this person. You can build them again, uh, even with how he's thinking, maybe.
No. Yeah,
that
I agree. I see what you mean.
that and that would be very interesting to do something like that. And maybe they are going to make time capsules in space. And
Mm,
this
yeah.
Amazon guy also wants to go in space. So
Oh, Bezos. Yes,
yeah,
he does. But he's gonna have to race Elon Musk for that one. So we will see how
yes,
that turns out. Two geniuses trying to get to space. But I've heard a lot of time capsules, people are shooting them into space. That's one of which, I've had a guest actually talk about that. Corey, his name was. And he had some very valid points. I had not heard of that technology. I Googled it afterwards and I was really impressed and also shocked that we were that far along.
yes. But that's also it's also done before, because there is a kind of small time capsule that's out of our solar system. It is three. I think it is a placate on it with a person on it, and but that is maybe the future of time capsules. But I think there will always be people who are uh, anxious to keep the future, or to let the future know how our time was.
Mm,
And then you can do this with photographs. You can also do this with making a monument
mm,
of our own time. And this monument of our own time, it can be that this time capsule. I think it's ongoing,
yeah.
or that can be something small, but it can also be something big, or in
Yeah.
space, or
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm looking at your website too. I had to ask how many people, how many videos do you have? How many students spoke in the time capsule?
I can see this 110,
10 people?
110 people, youngsters, young people.
And did they volunteer? They all wanted to do it, or was it part of like a class project? I'm trying to understand what the
It was
inspiration.
it was a kind of class project, but they could volunteer for it.
Okay, interesting. Really cool. This is definitely like one of the different ones because I think you were the only person that has just a data time capsule. So when I saw it registered through the International Time Capsule Society, I was very excited to talk to you about it because a lot of people just put things in there. This feels next level and more futuristic in a sense.
Yes,
So
I
for
think that
anyone listening and they want to make a time capsule, but they want to do it your style, more technology based, what advice would you give to them? Beginners, because I have a lot of people listening that want to make one, but they want to take some advice from an
you can make
expert.
a simple video and put it on on a stick and put it in the ground.
And put it in the ground. But you put other things in it. You put rice in it. You did a lot
Yes,
of
we can also do it in your house, in the wall, because something like that.
yeah. So
And that's
you think it's okay to put it, you're not saying like they have to be buried.
no, because I think you can also make in a building or in a house. You make a nice placate on the wall, and you say, "This is our time capsule," and our family time capsule. And in 2030, we're going to open it and see what kind of photos we made in this year.
Yeah.
That also would be very a nice thing to do, maybe. Just a
Yeah.
family happening, making out of it.
To capture your family history, I think that'd be great. I also would love it if new mothers when they have their babies to take a video of them holding their baby, predicting what they think their child's going to like maybe the sport they'll play, what they're going to study in school, and then watching it 15 years later or whatever they want and seeing if they were right. Because I know you mentioned that
Yes,
your
that's that's
son,
al-
your
that's
son
also
did that.
interesting, because when they are adults, you can give them this small device or stick, or maybe a cloud link at that
Yeah,
time,
right, right.
and then they can see how their mothers, fathers thought about them when they were grown ups.
Yeah. And what did you say earlier about your son? You said he was involved in this because he did something with the time capsules?
He helped me with the burial of the time capsule at the time because he was one of the participants in this project. He was at
Oh,
the
okay. So
time
he's actually
also
in
on.
here talking about it.
Yes, and
Wow.
then I said maybe it's interesting when you are, because then it's something also a heritage for myself, for
Yeah.
my next own next generation to dig it up. And this was also something was very interesting for the media at the time, so it's a bit marketing to do this.
It is. Do you wish that you would have done one or put a video of yourself in it? Because I'd love to see, how your opinions change as well.
Yeah, of course, that's I didn't make a video of myself in it, but it would be interesting to do something. But I'm also a person who's also always recording for myself how I think about, like a diary, to make, oh, this how my opinion was at this time, and so
Oh,
I like this I like this shifting of perspective in your life is very interesting. Because what you are seeing is that you're in every 5 or 7 years you're making a kind of shift, and you say, oh, that's how I thought about it, and then you are getting accustomed to your thoughts, and then at one moment you think, oh no, that's, and then you're
yeah.
going further. I
Yeah.
think that is something you call, how you call it? Development of your own personal development.
Yeah. It's a great way to track that,
Yeah.
especially for students because you're just young and you have all these opinions, and then you kind of go off into the world and it changes.
Yes.
So I
And
think
you
that's
see
like a
other things,
great time.
and hmm, and that's something I also recognize by myself, that things I thought about 30 years ago or 20 years ago, I thought about, I think it's completely different from
Yeah.
my opinion at that time.
Really.
So yes.
Is there any entertaining opinions that you used to have that you no longer have? I'd love to hear some.
I used to have when I was a student, I was a strictly vegetarian.
Really?
Yes.
That's
But
funny.
now,
You're like ahead of the game.
a year or 10 ago, I started to eat meat again, so I'm no vegetarian anymore. Not a good
No,
example, but
no, it's funny because a lot of I just feel like right now, with the environment and everything that is being pushed, vegetarianism, veganism is highly encouraged. So it's interesting that we're cycling through those like dietary trends almost.
at this time I don't eat a lot of meat. But when I eat meat, it's always this meat from farmers who are friendly to their animals.
Yeah, like ethical,
Yeah.
right? The best that we can do. But that's funny that you changed so much. I know that I know a lot of people that were like hippies in college, and now they are corporate finance, working 9 to 5 jobs, and on Wall Street in New York. So things change over time for sure. And I'm really interested to see where these kids go, where they go for university, what their opinions start to be. And did you guys choose? So you have a reunion now. Basically, what it is, it's like a high school reunion when you open these.
Yeah, that's the idea behind it. That we have a kind of small reunion at this time, uh, also with the people who got this certificate, and all these youngsters who were at the time uh,
Yeah.
with making these films are also invited to attend to this happening in 2030.
Wow. Do you wish that you would have done something like this out of high school?
Yes, I think so.
I would
Would be
love to
nice.
see what you would say if you were a high schooler, if I had a video of you.
At the time I was on the high school, the high schools weren't that interesting.
I do feel like the
This
future
this
of
was still in the time from the Cold War when I was in high school.
Wow. So you were in a much different era, but now you're experiencing a pandemic, so you've really seen it all.
Yes, that's true.
I do
In my
think it
high
would
school time,
be
I have been in, for instance, we were very afraid for the Russians in the Netherlands
really.
that they would come because of this Cold War, and then in 1989, when the wall was falling in Berlin, everything was normal again for a small time,
Wow.
and then and that's something when you experience that, it's also a kind of how you call it, a change of opinion or change of how you look at things. We
Yeah.
in the Netherlands we were very afraid for the communism and the eastern part of Europe. But nowadays, when I go to on holidays, I go to Poland or something. It's a holiday, and that time it was a
Was
kind of
scary.
enemy. Yeah, it's scary.
Wow. And now you relax there.
Yes.
Wow. I feel like you have such a good perspective, and you should definitely make a time capsule for yourself so that your family has it.
Yeah, I hope so. I
And
am
then you
very
could tell
busy.
them your stories.
Oh, they're getting they have enough of my stories, I think.
Yeah, but your sons, children, and so on, the 10 generations they could be stored for now. I think it would be a great thing to even know, especially from someone who lived through it.
Yeah, that's very interesting
Yeah, because I
do.
actually made a time capsule in the height of the pandemic. I filmed it in this room. So when I'm older, I'm going to be able to show my kids that I lived through a pandemic and show them, my house that I was in when I had to move home with my parents. You know how it goes, but I think it would be interesting to be able to actually show them a video of me when I was young instead of just telling them that this is how I was.
Yeah, that's very, and that's a great contribute from the digital era that we can record everything.
Yeah.
Uh, that's something. For 40 years, you had this analog camera. You didn't make a lot of. You made a few photos, and nowadays you can record everything. So you can record yourself, and that's very interesting when you have an opinion about something, uh,
Yeah.
that you that you really make a video out of it, and then when you show it to yourself or to your next of kin or friends or something in 10 years, then you say, how could I say something like that? And
The
that's interesting.
evolution.
Or you say, oh, then that's a good remark I made at this time. Why did I forget it?
Yeah. No, it's a good point, and I really like that. That's why I think I'm looking at my phone right now. I almost have 60,000 photos and videos. So
Oh, that's
we
lovely.
capture everything. When you're traveling, what you're eating, who you're spending time with. Um, I like it. I do. I don't like posting, but I like taking the photos for myself. But I think I would definitely kind of follow in your footsteps and create more of a digital time capsule so that I could put more content in it as well, because when you make a physical time capsule, you're kind of constrained to what you can put in it, right? You can only put a few
Yes.
items. It's not a huge you know massive time capsule. So even with you guys, yours was how big? Like medium sized?
I thought it was 40 centimeters. I don't know how much it is in inches, but 40 centimeters
40 centimeters?
high. That's 27 inches or something.
15 inches.
15 inches, okay.
And I'm sorry, did you bury it in 2010 or 2000 and I'm sorry, 2020 or
2015.
2015?
And the videos
Okay,
were
so it's
made in
15
the
inches
vid.
long and it's in the ground for 15 years.
Yes.
Cool.
Or this kind of remark you made about these inches wasn't isn't the thing I have thought earlier about.
Oh, really?
No, this is you saying this is a coincidence.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, It's already been an hour. Absolutely love talking to you, but I would love for you to say anything to the audience, any last parting words, any advice. We love capturing history here, passionate about storytelling and technology as we kind of go further and further along. And it seems like you understand that as well and you know the value in that. So any last words before we part for the audience would be much appreciated.
I hope they make a lot of time capsules and keep on making them because they are very important for our next generations.
Agreed. Well, thank you. Menno Dimitri. I'm pronouncing it right, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's always such a pleasure to have guests, but especially an international guest. It's really interesting to hear your perspective and what you guys are doing over in the Netherlands during this uncertain time. But I wish you all the best. I really appreciate you coming on. And honestly, keep in touch. If you have any articles you want to send my way, you have my email. But it was really nice talking to you, and thank you again for your time.
Likewise. Thank you for having
Bye.
me. Bye.
Okay, guys, so that was great. We had another amazing global international guest, which is always a huge honor for them to hop onto an American podcast. But we are, operating out of the East Coast. We're really excited to go forward in our quest for understanding time capsules and why people make them and so on and so forth. So please stay tuned for another episode for next week, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have another great guest and talk more about what we're doing with time capsules